I'm going to turn this very capable microphone over to my partners in rhyme. And I'm going to begin with William. Yeah, you won't see me for a moment. I'm just tightening up my notes, but I'm definitely here. Good to see all of you. And we should have a very nifty and special class today with the information that we're going to be sharing. But it won't be as long as we normally go, which is a mercy to all of us. Okay. And it will be worth sharing with other people. In fact, I put in the email that you could share today's class with other people who may have been interested in Nunetics. So you still have time to give them a call or a text or something, or just email them the code, the link, and have them join us. All right. So with that said, thank you all for being here. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and greetings all. I'd like to welcome you to our University Online Learning course, and with a special kind of introduction for those of you who might need one. I don't see anyone offhand that will, but we never know. So we will not only give you another intro to what Nunetics is about fundamentally, but even the source of it. We have a special presentation from Waliyuddin Sabir, who will give some thought in just a few moments on the phrase that really stimulated the kind of thought, international instructor Benjamin Bilal, to get on the path and into the journey of actually evolving and developing a whole science and methodology called Nunetics. When Imam W.D. Muhammad mentioned years ago that words make people. Well, and Wali will give us some insight and some of his thoughts as relates to that subject matter, and just a few. But let's begin our class, as we like to do, in gratitude. And there's no better way to begin your day, to begin your strong seven, as we like to call it, as opposed to calling it a week, to begin your month, your year, your life, uh, from moment to moment. There's no better way to begin uh, a thinking, a meditative session than with gratitude, giving thanks. It sets the tone, it sets the frequency, it aligns you with the fitra of Mother Nature itself. So there's no better way than just to give thought, deep thought. The deeper, the better. The things that you have to be grateful for, the things you would normally think about, and the things that you really take for granted sometimes, and for some of the higher, more elevated uh, uh, areas of thinking and reflection. So don't narrow yourself by just thinking of the things that's right in front of you. But you can be broad, you can be global, you can be cosmic, even in your expression of gratitude. So let's take a few moments, write it down. If you don't have the ability to do that, then write it, inscribe it, etch it into your mind and into your heart of the things you had to be grateful for. Just 10 is sufficient. If you want to go more, then that's even all the better. Again, continue to set the tone for the meeting, for our class meeting. We will open with Surat al-Ham, known by many across the world as Surah al-Fatiha. Surat al-Ham is a more appropriate way to describe that first opening 7 ayat or verses in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العظيم. All right, we're looking forward to a very introspective kind of a class session today. Our international instructor, Benjamin Bilal, will cap the whole class off with his subject on really what it means to be a true human, a true Muslim. And it's something that we all need to give attention to because those in that very small minority of the of humanity that have chosen to spend their whole life experience hiding information and knowledge, especially about the truth of who we are as in terms of our role and our identity in the scheme of things in this creation, have spent most of their time hiding that, keeping that valuable information from our minds so that we cannot rise to our full potential. So this subject matter, what it means to be a true Muslim, a true human even, is kind of information that's you can't put a price on. So we're looking forward to that. So just keep your minds and open and have your pens and pencils ready to take notes as we prepare for international instructor. And I had an opportunity over the last few days. I got in late last night on a flight from Houston. One of my daughters, my second to the youngest daughter, she started in college at Prairie View, A&M University, when she got out of high school years ago. And she was there for a few years and decided that she wasn't really interested in continuing her educational experience back then. So she decided to go into the hospitality industry. And she did that for a while, ending up as a flight attendant for years. And then she, 20 years later, she decided to go back, finish her educational process and get her undergrad degree. So she graduated at the University of Houston a few days ago. It was an interesting experience. I had the flight from Atlanta to Houston and then from Houston back to Atlanta, and the conversations that I had with the passengers that were sitting near and with my children while I was, and their friends, when we were visiting in Houston. Interesting conversation, but most of it kind of revolved around this whole idea of where we are as a global community, as a global village. And there's a big shift that's taking place, the universal shift that's taking place in our sensitivities and our emotional state and our thinking, how things are seem to be shutting down, coming to an end on one sense in terms of this domineering and environment of domination over people's thinking and their sensitivities, their feelings, and the direction of their life. On the one hand, the shutting down of that kind of energy, while at the same time an opening up of another energy of that lends itself more to full expression for us as humans and to come into our identity as true humans. And for us who have identified ourselves as being Muslim, as true Muslims. So we had a good exchange, talking to some of the younger people, seeing how their state of thinking and commitment and ideas about family and about relationships. It was quite a stimulating environment for me. And I just want to share this with you. I have in the 2 hour flight uh, from Atlanta to Houston, I spent time putting some thoughts on paper about perception, about the way we see the world and what impacts and influences informs that. And I'm going to share that. And the reason why I'm sharing it with you now, I'm going to take the work that Adam has done on our website, where he made it possible for us to actually to produce articles, where we can take some of our ideas, our research, our study, our training here uh, in our Nunetics environment, and reduce it to writing so we can share it with other people, other thinkers, other seekers of information and knowledge, people who want to improve the quality of their life. Don't hesitate to put your thoughts down on paper. We should encourage that and to put it in a format. It can be informal or formal, but articles nevertheless that will reflect the forward movement that is being inspired by our work in Nunetics. So take the time to do that. We have the space for it. Adam has taken uh, the time to produce a special place on our website where you can present your thoughts in writing. And especially, I'm thinking in terms of writers like I'm seeing Wally Udine right now, and he's an excellent writer. He's an author. He has published several books. I don't know exactly how many. I know he's done several books, and he's always writing. And he'll call me from time to time, and he'll share some of his thoughts. And run it past me for my reflection, just bouncing some thoughts off. And he does it often, as a matter of fact. So it's an opportunity for Wally to be at from time to time. Not only him, I'm just identifying him because he's going to share with us today. But there are others. There are quite a few of us in our class that have the interest. They uh, they have practiced actually writing, even if you haven't. Take the time to develop it. Better time than now to develop your writing skills. And the way you develop it is by doing it. And if you need with AI to take your writing and to do a grammar check for you or help you organize your thoughts after you put your thoughts down on paper, there's no better time to really be able to express your ideas and receive help from it if you don't have help from a live person, a study buddy, or somebody that you can run your thoughts by, and somebody to maybe edit some of your writing. Use AI, you know. But so there's no excuse for us not to go ahead and get busy sharing our thoughts and our work and our research with the whole global community. The world needs what we have to offer right now. Believe me, the world needs it. I saw that in that graduation ceremony. There were so many people, and the majority of them were young women. The vast majority were young women. Very few young men that was after graduating. The world needs what we have to offer. The world needs it, believe me. So get busy if you're not busy already. Like I say, I might be the first one out of the blocks. I don't know, Wally might beat me to it, but we need to go ahead and get some articles done and get them uploaded on our website. So without further ado, Wally and I, we've known each other for some time. We knew each other even before the Atlanta experience back in the Dallas and Fort Worth area. And he and our families had known each other, and so we go way back, and we worked in the construction industry together from time to time. We just share a lot. We just share a lot. So I know this brother's a thinker. Uh, he's one uh, that takes the time to not just take an idea or a subject for granted, he'll he'll do some thinking, some deep thinking on it, and he'll use his creative ability to put those thoughts in a form where it's palatable, digestible for you. So, and he does an excellent job at it. Also, with that, I'll turn this talking stick over to my brother Waliuddin Sabir. Wali, it's yours, bro.
Salam alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam.
I hate to interrupt before we go on to this wonderful presentation. I am supposed to allow us or let us know that bills need to be paid.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Those of us who
Yes.
haven't paid, we know that we have an obligation. You know, this presentations and things like Sabir and all the rest of us are here because someone is paying the bill for it to be here. And those of us who are in Nunetics know who they are. I don't need to say. We need to stay up on our bills that we need to pay. Nothing's free. And this is just a reminder to not only to you, to myself too, that we need to be up on par. Whatever you put your attention to, it expands. So put your attention to paying what you need to pay for Nunetics. Monthly, every 3 months or every week, there's a bill to be paid. Please, 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 please.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, that's it keeps our feet planted firmly. You know, we don't want to levitate and just drift off into space somewhere.
Mm.
We have to keep that in mind that we have to take care of the foundation. I mean, you know, that first level and the chakras, it's foundational. It has to do with, you know, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to call it, food, clothing, and shelter. Keep your feet flat on the
Yes,
ground,
basics.
you know.
Mhm.
And that's but that's also a part of Jannah. You, if you let your mind float off into space, you know, what thinking that you're cosmic and you're hungry and getting put out of doors, then you're in hell. You're not in heaven. So, so you're right, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that reminder for all of us, and act on it, y'all. Act on it. I just want to second the motion. So with that, Wali, the talking stick is in your hands, brother.
Thank you so much. I'm appreciative to have this opportunity to share with you some thoughts on the subject of words make people. Allah, as our source creator, has given us a universe where everything in it has aim and purpose that operates on one accord. Our main purpose in life is to come into agreement with that oneness so we can realize our true aim and purpose in life. Imam Muhammad pointed out that the purpose of human creation is to establish model human community life. At this point in our collective life, out of our human existence, we know that we are falling way short of that as our aim and purpose. Yet, Allah says in the Quran, "Today I have perfected your faith for you, completed my favor upon you, and chosen Islam as your deen." It stands to reason that Islam as our deen, perfected by Allah, is not what is established in the world today. What we have in the world today is Islam, not Islam. Islam is a man-made religion that cannot lead to the true purpose and aim of human creation. What has been perfected by Allah for humanity is Islam. So why is Islam the more commonly known term? For us to understand this, we must take a deep dive into what I believe to be one of the most profound statements in the history of the human family. That statement was made by Imam W.D. Muhammad. Words make people. First, words are units that are made up of frequencies. The frequencies in words are the seed letters. Words, like most things in creation, begin in pairs that are called proto-roots for words. Each seed letter, like every other created thing, has its own unique frequency. Frequency is the infrastructure that creation is constructed on. In other words, frequency is the language of creation, and it is the frequency in each seed letter that shapes the words that make us who we are and the world what it is. The frequency in seed letters are expressed, the frequency in seed letters are expressed from 7 points of articulation from the human mouth. These 7 sounds form 7 core groups where all of the sounds in a specific group can be interchanged with each other. Sounds within the same group. This principle is called Grimm's Law. Understanding these principles helps us to comprehend the one verse of the universe. One second. Nunetics as a language system helps us to see the meaning for seed letters as they are expressed as a part of the human body, in the environment, and through abstract representation. These measurable standards that we see are a part of Allah's fitra. Through these patterns of construction and behavior inherent in all objects in nature, we come to know what is the truth. Frequency exists in ranges from high to low, or from low to high. Every created thing has both form and function. The frequency of form tends to be low, while the frequency of function tends to be higher. The lower frequencies of form operates on or in a closed system based on the law of diminish and return. Function, on the other hand, tends to operate in an open system where the limits of material law are not at play. This duality of form and function play a major role in us becoming who we were created to be. We know that as a part of Allah's fitra, life starts its journey in a weak state that is designed to become progressively stronger by overcoming natural opposition. It is how we are conditioned to overcome opposition that presents the greatest challenge for us as human beings. Allah tells us in the Quran, we have an open enemy. Allah did not create an enemy for us. He created opposition for us. And that is not our enemy. Opposition is designed to make us stronger. The open enemy is elusive because I, or we, are the only ones that can give opposition we are the only ones that can give to opposition a way that opposition becomes our enemy. In other words, we, through our choices, can take the natural opposition and make that opposition an enemy to us. It is with opposition that man created language systems to retard the natural development of the human being, locking us into a closed system of diminish and return. The power is me accepting this artificial system over the natural system designed by Allah as his fitra. The enemy is open because I, myself, because I open myself up to the influences that allow me to manage my life based on these lower frequencies. In other words, I become my worst enemy. Words make people, and a diet of low frequency words stops my natural progression as a true human being. We must remake the world. To remake the world, we must reconstruct our word environment. Nunetics as a tool allows us to engage this process without guesswork. It is FITRA based. Thank you.
All right, alhamdulillah. Excellent presentation, Wali, and uh, you never have disappointed me in your presentation. And certainly you didn't uh, in that one. It was very it was easy to understand for one thing, but at the same time, it was the kind of presentations that people that have their walls lined with PhDs, they would have to sit up and pay attention to, and learn from. I was like I said, I was at the University of Houston and a few days ago, and I was listening to the presentations by those people that have uh, PhD behind their name or in front of their name as doctors, and uh, and my daughter happened to get her degree in psychology, but I can't think of any of their presentations that they shared with that graduating. It was quite a large group, as a matter of fact, one of the biggest graduations I've been to yet. And uh, the presentations you just shared was actually far beyond those presentations I heard just a few days ago from those people with all those doctors in front of and behind their name. Uh, and I had a conversation on the way to Houston and away from it, and I had two young men that were sitting next to me, one going and one coming back. One of them had a degree in anthropology, and the other one had a degree in industrial engineering. And it was interesting because both of them were kind of dissatisfied with their level of progress and the uh, ability to actually apply the information that they received in university in their life. But the kind of
Mm.
presentation you just gave, man, it's the kind of presentation that somebody again can expand their minds and their perception of how the world works, how the universe works, and then they can take that information and actually use it in their life. It's a big difference.
Alhamdulillah.
Knowledge for knowledge's sake, and knowledge presented in a such way to your body can actually digest it.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, so excellent job, excellent job. There was
Alhamdulillah.
a lot of the food that we eat makes us sick because because it's not natural food. It's
Mhm.
processed food. And it's been processed so far away from uh, a state of compatibility for our bodies to be able to take it in and use it until it makes us sicker instead of rejuvenating us and giving us energy and keeping us healthy or well. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with words.
Mhm.
So the way your presentation again, so I'm just sharing these thoughts because it'll help us use some guidelines. Wally is a seasoned writer and presenter, so we can learn from take the time, take his presentation that he just shared, and study it, and notice how he started it, how he built the logic for the framework that he used to build the logic and to his conclusion. Study that, and that'll help you to prepare your presentation or improve upon your process of presentation. Because this brother he's experienced and he's a published writer already. So Allah has given us the tools that we need, and the people that we need. We have everything that we need to advance Nunetics globally right now. Not something that's going to come forward when other people come and get involved. Now, right now, we have amongst us some of the best minds this world has produced. It's in our class environment right now as we speak. And so take advantage of it. All right. So that's anyone else have any comments or questions?
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Waliuddin Sabir, shukran
Yes, sir, my brother.
jazilan. I really
Alhamdulillah.
appreciate you, man. The
Alhamdulillah.
words that you use energize me. And it comes
Alhamdulillah.
from words making people with our beloved Imam, said Imam Wafdi Muhammad. I might not have a degree from universities, but I do have a degree in the universe. This is where we are
Yes.
now, with words
Yes.
making people. Knowledge which does not feed the life of the intellect is dead.
Mhm.
You know, you
Mhm.
gave us food for thought.
Mhm.
Yum yum, eat them up. You know,
Alhamdulillah.
we gotta stop laying dead. You
Yeah.
know, we gotta start
Mhm.
being a human being instead of doing what you're doing. Nothing. No, we can't allow that to permeate our life now. You know, we have everything we need to be successful. Look at your certain how man with that Kareem. We are in the right spot in the right time with the right people. We have to sprout.
Mhm.
There's no other way to do it right now than to do it right now. You, I was, your words gave me the energy to say to myself, now what do I need to do to complement what you was just doing?
There you go.
Mhm.
Shukran jazilan. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Thank you.
And that's the spirit we have to move in. We got to encourage each other. We have to compliment each other. That helps, man. When you know that you put in time and effort, because it takes work to put something like that together, you know. And then one of your peers, you know, takes his hat off to you, so to speak, you know, and let you know, man, you took care of business on that, you know. We need that kind of encouragement to keep going, you know. And whenever we need corrections, and a correction is not putting you down, it's helping to build you up. All right. Yes, brother Imran, you might like comment or question?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair for
Right.
that. That was brilliant. And so I just wanted just to add something to what you said, because you said Imam W.D. Muhammad said that words make people. If you look at the word words and world, it's just
Yes.
removing the L. And
Right.
so worlds make up the world in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So Alhamdulillah,
Yes.
Jazakallah khair. And that was just the
Alhamdulillah.
digestion that I just had for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Shukran jazakallah.
And of course, that R and that L are interchangeable, actually.
Yeah,
You
right.
could say it's the same word.
Yeah.
The word is the world, and the world is the
Yeah.
word. Matter of fact, Imam Muhammad said also at one time that a word is anything that brings a message to your mind.
Right.
That's a powerful thought.
Right.
Anything that brings a message to your mind. Now, again, I haven't heard of anybody, and I've read a lot of people and heard a lot of presentations, and I've been around people of some pretty high scholarship, so to speak, but I haven't heard anybody make it more plain than that.
Right.
That a word is anything that brings a message to your mind. So Imran, yeah, you're perfect, man, in terms of word, world, word. We have so much to be thankful for. Anyone else has anything to share or any questions to ask my brother Wadi?
Waliuddin, that was very succinct. I just really want to follow up with what Instructor Williams said. It was very clear. It was short but power packed and had enough for us to take with us and apply. That was really important, but also gives the audience enough to try to think about without
Yes.
filling up our minds with too much information that was hard to understand. So it's just presented really well, and I really like how you were able to incorporate proto-root words, which are really important. That you
Yeah.
just brought that in
Yeah.
so smoothly. It I think that anyone, even if it was new for the new next, they would, you said, it was really well put
100%.
together. And sometimes people don't know the simplest things take a lot of work to put together to make it that simple, easy to understand and process, and then be able to potentially apply even just one piece. So it was just really
Yes.
well presented.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu
You know,
alaikum.
and if you just will take if you look at, if you've been following Wali and his work, look at some of his first uh, presentations, or some of the first books that he actually published, and then listen to his presentation today, and you'll see the growth. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because you don't have to, when you first start out, you won't start out on the top of your game,
Right.
You'll want to grow and expand and refine your presentation and improve the quality of your life. You should be expansive no matter how long you live. You should still be expanding. You should still be growing. You should never get to a point where you stop. That's not the way this creation was designed. And it'll help ease maybe the fear you might have right now that what I produce today may not be good enough. Don't worry about that. Organize it the best you can, seek the help that you think you need, and go ahead and produce. That's the kind of action we need now from more members of the class. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and put it out there, and seek the help you need, and it'll help us move forward. Again, our work, our contribution is needed more in society today than ever before. So we don't have the luxury of waiting until you get it perfect. No, just get it excellent. Don't worry about the perfection. Get it excellent. All right, Brother Kareem Hassan, go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Walaikum salam.
When the brother was talking about adding L to the word to make it world, it came to mind that sometimes the right word makes a world of difference.
The difference, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. See, there's so much then. Allah has given us so many ways to go, man. We can go up, down, right, left. We can cover the waterfront with Nunetics. We have
Yes.
to understand and realize what we've been gifted with. I don't want to see blessed. We've been gifted with the gift we have of Nunetics. I can't think of any single discipline, because that's what it is. It's a discipline. There's structure to it. There's a discipline to it. And I can't think of any discipline or structure that's been induced by men. But man means mind. I'm not talking about male man. I'm talking about a mind that's been induced by persons. And I don't want to use the word people either. You see how I'm being very selective in the words that I use? Because that's the practice of Nunetics. And the way you show appreciation, gratitude for what you got is by using it, y'all. So get into the habit of shifting. Catch yourself when we're putting something out there that's not registering nunetically with you in terms of something that fits the expectation that you have for what you really mean. Catch it, and correct yourself. What they call it, in-flight correction. Yeah, catch yourself and correct it like I just did. So this process of taking Nunetics and making it live in your life experience now, we have to move. If you're going to be a part of this forward movement, we have to be a part of this process of making it a living, a functioning. Imam Abdi mentioned the difference between it was in your presentation, I believe, form and function. Yeah. So taking it from the level of form and getting it into the level of activity or function. All right. We have to use Nunetics like that. The more we use it like that, the more it's going to deliver the type of frequency that will lift us up, that will raise us up to the point where we'll be able to manifest results that we're looking for. It's a process. So alhamdulillah. Thank you, Kareem.
William,
Yes.
William, can I let me add
Please, yeah.
a point. Yeah. When I was asked, was I ready to present, I was a little hesitant because I know I'm dealing with personally some challenges that based on decisions that I've made. And as I'm thinking about it, I said, well, let me just think about this. And I took those challenges and really put them into the body of what I uh, wrote on. And
Wow.
it really helped me think clear about the challenge.
Inama
So,
usri,
pardon me?
inama usri yusra.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want to, make that point because, you know, um, it is important that we use, as you were saying, that we use this system of Nunetics, to help us improve, on our life.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Absolutely right,
Yeah.
man. For those of you who might not have followed that phrase from the Quran, it said, with the difficulty comes the
Yes,
ease, comes the relief.
yes.
It doesn't come
Hmm.
afterwards, or somewhere down the road, it's part and parcel. It comes right together in the same package. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And you know what, Wally, that's our maturing in what we got, what you just expressed.
Yes.
The
Hmm.
fact that you took the challenge that you're facing, and when that happens, this old saying that we have that when somebody asks you how you're doing, you say, "It's all good."
Hmm.
That's when that becomes real, man.
Right.
So no
Yes.
matter what happens, there's good
Yeah.
in
It's
it.
all good.
Yeah,
Yes.
just up to us to see the good
Yeah.
in the challenge.
Salam alaikum.
Hmm.
Walaikum
Yes.
salam.
Uh, we know, Whether you deem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not to put on a burden that you cannot bear. And
Right.
it's
Absolutely.
proven with your presentation.
Yes.
And like
Hmm.
the executive William Safir said, in them al usri yusra. You
Yeah.
you made it easy for us to understand.
Mm.
That's the hardest part. Like Sister Nawa was saying, you made it easy for us to understand. And back in the day, they said, make it plain. You made it plain.
Yeah.
You make it
Yes.
plain.
Yeah.
You made it
Hmm.
plain. And as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to his son, Imam Wafdi Muhammad, and I say to you, you can take what you did, we can take that anywhere.
That's right.
Hmm.
Shukran jazilan.
Yeah, salam,
Alhamdulillah.
salam alaikum. Muhammad
Walaikum.
Ali
Yes,
Malik.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to say, and it works. And I say that because I am presently in an academic environment and I understand the impact of and the essence of the language. And sometimes I'm just saying, I'm gonna give an example. Sometimes I feel like an ice skater skating on the ice,
Mm.
Hmm.
and it becomes that easy. And it's not you're not trying to hurt anyone, but you are getting to the foundation of what causes an individual to advance academically, socially,
Mhm.
politically, on all levels, and as an individual human being. And that's where we want to go,
Hmm.
to our
Wow.
human essence.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's important.
Yes.
So praise be to Allah. We are going in the right direction. Salam
Alhamdulillah.
alaikum.
Walaikum
Wa
salam.
alaikum salam.
Yeah, that's when it counts, man. When
Yeah.
we can. I like to say when we can feel it. It's one thing to hear it, to see it, but when you can feel it, it's like uh, I've got so involved in music, especially in jazz. I can feel a musician,
Hmm.
and across, I can be up in the nosebleed seats, and the musician can be playing on stage with an orchestra. And
Hmm.
and I had this sensitivity where I can actually feel the essence. And one of the greatest drummers that ever lived, his name and marketplace was Billy Higgins. He's Abdullah
Bill
Kareem.
Higgins. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
when I saw this brother play, I shared this with Muhammad Alim Ali just last night. When I heard this brother play for the first time, he was playing with an orchestra, and it was at UCLA. And I was way up, and I wasn't quite a nosebleed. But I was up quite a ways back in the audience. But I knew, never having met this brother before or heard him play before, I knew that he was a Muslim, a real Muslim, the kind of Muslim that I think international instructor is going to cover today when he gives his presentation. A real Muslim, a true Muslim. And I felt that brother's presence, and I saw the energy, the way he was smiling, the way he was moving, the way he was enjoying himself and carrying that whole orchestra with his drum set, and I just felt his presence in that whole audience, my wife was with me, and I said, "That's a Muslim." She said, "How you know?" I
Hmm.
said, I just know that brother's a Muslim. I guarantee you he's a Muslim. And I saw him a couple of strong sevens later. He was playing with a smaller group, and I got a chance to meet him, and we became friends for life after that. But it's something about, like you were saying, about if you can feel it, man. If you can feel, you can just move it. That's what I like to identify. What we've developed here in our class now, this whole idea of being uh, frequency modulators. Y'all know that's where we're headed. We're headed to a point where we can modulate our own frequencies, meaning what? Meaning we can lift them up. We can lift ourselves up, elevate ourselves in the way we feel, the way we think, and our behavioral pattern. We can lift ourselves up. And so we can obtain any level of instructor covered this in the last couple of classes, anything that we can imagine that we can become that. And we do it by modulating our frequency. And but alhamdulillah, let me just pause talking because there's no one else. I don't see anybody else with their hands raised. Let me take this talking stick, pass it to is she with us? I think she is. It's Nawa still with us. I'll pass this talking
Yes,
stick to Nawa. Yeah, and whatever she might have to cover, and we'll prepare for our international instructor today and his presentation.
I think that we thank you, Instructor William. Had a very good wrap up and feedback to Aliuddin also opened up a whole bunch of other very valuable information.
What's
So
that?
Brother Adib and Master Instructor Adib reminded everyone of what I was going to remind. If you haven't made your payments for this month, please do so.
What's
So he
that,
gave that
Wally?
reminder. Oh, hold
Hmm.
up. Wally, you gotta mute
I'm
your
sorry.
mic,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So yes, so he's already made that reminder on my behalf. So we see that Instructor Karima is not presenting today, so maybe she's just taking a little break. So hopefully we'll see her next week or the week at next Strong Step Sunday or the Sunday after. But if not, we could pass the talking stick over right to Instructor Benjamin Bilal.
Okay. All right. This was such a fantastic opening to a class, and I haven't seen an opening like this in quite a while. And I've seen some great openings by you guys, but this one happened to have something on the energetic level running through it with everybody who spoke or made a comment that I'm going to put this on my calendar as a very special recognition day for our growth and development. Sometimes you see this in your children and your grandchildren, especially if you haven't seen them for a little while, a few weeks or over the summer or something. And as soon as you see them, you realize how tall they've grown, or you realize how mature they've become, mentally speaking. They might not have grown an inch at all. But when you speak to them, you say, wow, look at how he's putting his words together. Now, where did he learn that? You know, and sometimes, if it's your own child, you say, well, I didn't teach it to him. He learned that from the environment. So we're learning from these two sources. We're learning from the self, what's going on inside of you internally, but we're also learning from the environment. And that's why you have to really, really guard over your environment and the environment of your children, because it's not just your private thoughts that are feeding your growth and development. It is also equally, if not more so, depending on how much of the environment you're in touch with, it will be the environment that becomes your undoing. It will be your environment that becomes the undoing of many of the great things that you learned internally, the great things that you felt internally, the goodness that you feel, or when you know that you're wrong in something and you only say it to yourself, I know I shouldn't have done that. But the environment can even take those private, what we might call moral thoughts and inclinations, and turn them around to the point where you do something wrong and now you don't feel anything. This is the human life that we're talking about. This is the life that we're about to give some detail into, in understanding what a true Muslim actually is. You know, maybe some people came to this class today thinking that I'm going to be talking about the Shahadatain and going to Mecca once in a lifetime, and the five ritual prayers, that they call salat. It's not what the Quran says, but that's what they say, that is salat, and they can't tell me the difference between a prayer and a salat. They don't know. They interchange them, and there are a lot of things that have gotten or have become interchangeable in the scholastic realm of how we have been presented the deen called that they call Islam. I don't call it Islam because the Quran doesn't call it Islam. The Quran calls it Al-Islam. And if Allah calls himself Ar-Rahman, who am I to come behind Allah and just call him Rahman? How could I deprive him of his noble title and the prefix to that title, or the definite article that's attached to that title in the Quran? Al-Islam in the Quran is considered to be Allah's deen. When Allah mentions Islam, he's referring to any generic Islam. Everybody has an Islam. Anything can have an Islam, can have something that makes them peaceful, that makes them submissive, as we like to say, right? Anything can do that. There are animals that are like that. You got slugs. They ain't bothering nobody. As peaceful as you can get. Other creepy crawlers that are out there doing their thing, and they're not trying to rush up on nobody and gang bang and hit nobody in the head and take their nuts. The creatures just do what they do. Some of them are violent, and many of them are just submissive. But for a Muslim, you really don't even want to be what they call submissive. I'm getting to the point where you need to listen carefully. For the Muslim, they say a Muslim is one who submits to the will of Allah. No, we're not submitting to the will of anybody. We are surrendering our will. Submit means that somebody or something has overpowered you. And it's not necessarily your choice. And it's not necessarily a choice that is figuring into or factoring into the natural way that things happen when change occurs. The natural way that things occur when change happens is that they surrender. They do not submit. You've seen a wrestler submit to another wrestler when he's got him on the ground. He's got to tap out because he's choking to death. That's submitting. When you see the seasons change, the four basic seasons that we all experience, depending on where you are in the world, of course, but most of us know winter, spring, summer, fall. Well, the way they interchange and exchange their energies when one comes out or goes out and the other one comes or goes in, it's coming in. Sometimes they leave some residue. We call it Indian summer, right? It's not even summer, but we say Indian summer because summer hasn't given up all of its goodies yet. Someone said, I got a few things I need to stick around for, you know. But they surrender to each other. Just like the sunlight. When the sun rises, so to speak, in the morning, darkness has to surrender to the light. and vice versa. When the darkness is time, when it's time for darkness to rule or to be dominant, then the sunshine has to go away. But its going away is not a forced activity. It's a surrendering activity. It says, I know it's no longer my time. I did what I was supposed to do in that time. And now I'm going to surrender so that another level of energy can replace me. That's beautiful. That's leadership. That's a lesson for leadership. I hope you are all with me on that and understand what I'm actually saying. These are things that you have to study. What I give you is not information for you to just take and, throw into the mouth and be done with as though it's some elementary school food. It's not. What I'm giving to you as information is actually college, university level, and beyond. Many of you don't notice it yet because either you haven't been to college or university. Neither have I. I haven't been to college. So I know what I'm talking about. But I've studied that level of information. And what I'm giving you goes beyond that because what I'm saying to you is encouraging thinking that rules above the academics that this world has given us. And I'm giving you insight into the intricacies of that knowledge that they don't or won't give you. They don't because they don't know it themselves. They won't because they do know how valuable this deep rooted knowledge is. When we talk about the esoterics of knowledge and the etymology of words, that's deep knowledge that is not taught to the average knucklehead. They would call them knucklehead, who even has gone to school and participated and graduated and have done some other things. And those people usually end up working at Walmart. Many of them, believe it or not, they work at Walmart and wherever else they can get a job when they can't get a job because now AI is all over the place. And what I thought I was going to be able to use my degree for, I can't use it for that anymore. Or I might not be able to use it in the next 2 to 3 years or 4 to 5 years or whenever. So I have to prepare for a whole new system of non-human beings. And they're not really non-human beings, they're non-human doings. Those robots will just be doing stuff that you and me used to do. So in reality, they don't need as many of us on the set anymore as they used to. So we have to then prepare ourselves for living the kind of existence that does not allow for them to just erase us from the planet. And this is the most serious talk I've probably given up to date. We have to come into an appreciation for knowledge that will not allow the manipulators of this world to just take their giant eraser out and begin going across our blackboard, meaning our nature. They're erasing human nature as we speak. They don't even want us to know what human beings are essentially and are supposed to be doing essentially. They don't want you to know the progress that the human being has been calculated and programmed to make as a human being. When Allah says, خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that He created the human, He programmed the human in the most excellent of organizational designs. That means no AI and nothing's coming after us that's going to replace you unless you choose to be replaced. And the only way that can happen is if you do not keep your finger on the pulse of what this society is doing. That's the only way that can happen. Other than that, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, as was said by one of our famous presidents. Nothing to fear except fear itself. So you're really being afraid of a boogeyman, something that really doesn't exist, unless you allow it to exist. That's my point. You can let it come in, you can look at it and think it's bigger than you, and it's going to consume you, it's going to take over all of the markets. And so you have to create a new market. How are you going to do that, Instructor Bilal? You create a new market? I'm not even a high school graduate. How am I going to create a new market? By getting in touch with your original nature. It's called fitra. by placing your brain into the careful and capable hands of El Fitra, meaning the natural structures that created this universe way above and beyond any people who have sought to take the Fitra over. The Fitra is not afraid of any one of us. The Fitra does not work morally speaking. The Fitra is not based on your human ethics, what you think is right and wrong and good and bad and clean and dirty. It doesn't work. The Fitra doesn't work upon that. The Fitra is nature, and nature will take you out just like nature brought you in, with nothing, no compunction, I think they call it. It doesn't have that kind of will. It is a creative consciousness that brought us here. It's creative. If something goes wrong in the genetic fabric and a little piece of gene or something is off, AC, whatever it is, that you need in order to be a complete and functional person, and one of those letters is off, you're going to come here a little bit crooked, not in the moral sense, in the technical and functional sense. You could be born with one leg or one eye instead of two. And it's nothing personal on the part of the Fitra. It's functional. So let us learn how the human being operates on the functional level. And that is where you will discover that whether you're born blind like Stevie Wonder or not, it doesn't mean you can't make human progress. That's where a lot of people are fooled. I don't have what he has. I wasn't born into a rich family like the Rockefellers or whoever. And we think that that gives us a lesser position when it comes to what we can do on planet Earth, and that we can't be as consequential as they are. You can be as consequential as they are in your goodness. You have an advantage that many of them are not taking advantage of. They're being very sloppy in their work. I'm talking about the people who socially manipulate other people and groups of people and nations. People who think that nations are in the world just for them to subdue them and take them over and rule over them and take their stuff. There are people who actually believe that. But that's not what the true human is about. So let me pull up my notes and get you ready for a journey. Strap in. just pull it over the shoulder and around the waist and be ready for the ride. Give me one moment. So I thank you all for being here with us on this Sunday, May 17, 2026. I am, of course, your international instructor, Benjamin Bilal. And our subject today is revolving around the idea of what is a true Muslim. Muslims number about 2 billion or so, I think, if I'm not getting the number incorrect. And we are some of the most off-center people operating on planet Earth today as we speak. When I say off-center, I mean that something is wrong. Something has gone wrong. Something continues to be wrong about a good majority of thoughts that are running through the brains of people who call themselves Muslims. And it's causing untold problems for Muslims around the planet. And the bad forces on this planet are taking advantage of Muslim weaknesses. And those weaknesses are not because other people came in and subdued Muslims. The weakness is in the misunderstanding and misapplication of Quranic terminology, and terminology that came in to supposedly supplement that knowledge that was also designed purposely for incorrect processing in the brain. Information is always being processed in the brain. And if you begin to feed yourself something that's not compatible with the natural food, for instance, that Allah created for you, that's out in the environment, and it's compatible with your vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever your body needs, and you put in something that was created in the laboratory, and you think it's going to be okay with what the creator, the source creator, created in your system, That's when your system is going to run into problems inevitably. It's just a matter, it might not happen the first day, might not happen the first month, or maybe even the year that you've been eating fake food. Like, keep on with your McDonald's and Burger King on into 2 or 3 and 4 and 5 years, and see what has happened. They have a bunch of videos on YouTube now giving you detailed information on what I'm saying, how this, what they're calling food is not even really fit to be called food, that we are ingesting on a daily basis. Well, that detriment that is due to that mismanagement of materials that are causing our physical body systems to become inert, to become blown out of proportion, meaning they're losing their balance. The body itself is losing its original intended balance. So the average one of us right now in American society in particular is overweight. This is what I mean by losing their balance. Literally, we're overweight. If you go to the exact opposite end of the planet and look at those people in India or places in Africa, you're going to see that they're underweight. The point is not that they're overweight or underweight. The point is that they're not balanced. And one of the machinations of that energy that is called as shaitan in the Quran is to keep you off of your equilibrium, to keep you unbalanced. Doesn't matter which extreme you go to. Just like in politics, it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, left or right or whatever. What is important is that you're off center. You're not operating with all of the tools that are available for you in the fitrah for you to operate with. So let's examine some of the deeper meanings behind what I've given to you as instruction. We're going to start with al-Baqarah, that they call the cow. See, that's what I mean by unbalanced. The Rabb, the one who is involving us in order to evolve us. That's Rabb. He's not just the evolver. He is involving. You become involved in matter, in creation, scientifically speaking, before you become evolved. Aren't you involved in your mother system before you're spat out onto the world of what we call the outer environment? At least 9 or so months in your mama's belly. You're involved. You're not evolved. You're growing out of something that your physical eye could not even see. You were a unicell at one point, and we would not have known that had Allah not allowed the human being to invent a microscope, on the level of perception, as we use that word, on the level of perception that would allow you to see that single cell, that unicell, that amoeba, that you never could see it with your individual eye. So look at the worlds that Allah opened up to us just by allowing us to invent a tool that we could place to the eye or look through with the eye and see many other worlds besides the one that we thought we understood was here. That's your Rabb. This world has a Rabb also, but they're robbing you. See, and they're rubbing you the wrong way, the Rabb of this world. They have small lords running around. They call them landlords and, other kinds of lords. This is given to you in the Quran that there are other lords running around here, but they don't do what Allah does. The lords of this world just try to take control of your growth and development, to steer that development into their corner so that when you become all that you can be, as they say in the army commercial, you're all that you can be for their camp, not for the world. When Allah allows you to come under the frequency of what he calls Rabb, he's preparing you for 2 worlds. The world of the unseen as well as the world of the seen. And your benefit, your growth, your development is for both levels. As we mentioned earlier, there's an internal growth taking place in us. And then there is the environmental side of the growth that's taking place in us. It's told to us in a very famous hadith, as they call them. And that is that every child is born upon the fitrah. They like to say every child is born Muslim, but that's not technically what that hadith says. It says that every tifl, which means infant, is born alal fitrah, upon the fitrah. And if every person is born upon the fitrah, it means that the fitrah is responsible for them even being here, but it also means, reciprocally speaking, that they are in turn responsible for the upkeep of their own fitrah. How's that for a line to remember? Yeah. The fitrah is responsible for them, is giving you food and clothing and shelter, as was mentioned earlier. But you are also responsible for the upkeep. Go out and look at your front yard, for goodness sake. What happened? You've never cut the grass. See, Allah creates a creation that encourages you to do things that if you don't do them, then the wild side of the fitrah takes over. If you never cut your hair, trim your hair, or braid your hair, or do anything to make yourself look, nice and taken care of, as they say, cared for, as my mother used to say, that child look uncared for. Right? Nothing wrong with hair. Nothing that's not halal about long hair. But there's something about the unkempt look, especially of children, but particularly of adults also. If you just let it grow and you don't take care of it, you don't put anything in it, no oil, no nothing, and it just becomes matted. And before you know it, you see little insects flying around it like it's their nest. No, then something becomes your intellect starts speaking to you to say there's something's wrong here. I can do better than this. You see? So there are two sides, as I said earlier, to this fitra nature that we've been speaking on. One is being supplied information from your internal self, meaning the genetics that Allah created for you. And the other one is growing and developing based on the information that is coming from your environment. So part of that information is coming from your form, that's your genetic self. The other side of that information is coming from your function, and that is partially your genetic self, but it is also the things that you have allowed to impact your life coming from the environment. All right. So Al-Baqarah, it's speaking about a system. It's not speaking about a physical cow. In fact, cow is not even the right word in English. The right word should have been heifer. Cows are full-grown adults, the women among this creature. Full-blown adult, meaning that they had to have had a baby in order to become a cow. Cows that have not yet had a baby are considered to be heifers, no matter how old they get. Ask any farmer. When they become 2.5 years old, from 0 to 2.5, they are calves. Calves, I think they pronounce it. They exist as a calf, a calf. As soon as they turn 2 years old, they become a heifer, a heifer. And they will remain a heifer until they actually deliver calf and become a mother. Then they become cows. So if you don't even know that much, then how are you going to adequately understand what Allah is saying in the Quran. If you're thinking cow and that's some generic something, red heifer or brown heifer or how now brown cow, and you're not really thinking straight because they didn't give you straight language. But this is not a cow. This is a heifer. The heifer is the midway point between calf and full-blown cow. It's the midway point. That's your hint. They asked a question in that surah, how old is she? See, they were looking to see whether they should slay her or not. They said, how old is she? And they said, oh, she's in the middle. She's midway through her lifespan. And these are things that the intellect is supposed to catch and consider. Every word in the Quran is important. None of the words in the Quran are just happenstance. So I used it just because it seemed like it would just flow right with that word. No, even if the word is wa and and is put in there on purpose. There are no happenstance words in the Quran. So there should be no happenstance words in you. Because words, as we heard earlier, so brilliantly demonstrated by Wali Sabir, they make people. So is the Quran making you? Or is this world that's greater than this word making you? Who robbed you of your lamb? Somebody took your lamb. Mary had a little one, and I think they came and got her too. Put the lamb back in the word, and you'll have your world again. It's beautiful when you understand it. But sometimes we have to think on it in order to understand what's being said here. So the heifer is related to the idea of something that is not true to itself. It's not true to its own reality. It's not true to its own image. You look at it, and because she has not had a baby, it doesn't matter to some. She looks full blown, like many of our little girls used to look before they started looking like grown women as teenagers, or sometimes as pre-teenagers. 12 years old, 13 years old. These girls look like 18, 19, 20 years old. But they haven't had any babies. They don't have any real life experience that would qualify them to be an adult. But we look at them and we say, that girl had to be 18, R. Kelly. Look at her. She's got to be 19, 20. No, I'm sorry. She was 14. And what that grandma called her, if you bring her home to grandma, she's going to say, why are you out there with that little heifer? That's what she calls her, right? That little nasty heifer. Don't bring her around my house. Look at the short skirt she's wearing, those tight shorts she's wearing. Look at the blouse that's tied at the right beneath the breast. I can see her belly button and her big old legs. But I can tell in that heifer's face that she's just a heifer. She ain't no grown woman. Our grandmothers had that kind of intrinsic wisdom to be able to determine the difference between somebody who was faking as though they were a full-blown woman and the one who was a full-blown woman. So they call that other one faker. And do you know that consonantally speaking, the word heifer and the word faker have exchangeable consonants? It's an amazing study. HFR in heifer, FKR in faker. It's beautiful when you understand it. Right, Adib? I know he knows. He loves that phrase. All
That's
right.
my phrase, man.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
beautiful when you understand.
Yes, it certainly is. All right.
Shukran.
No fun. The Quran is addressing situations in the worlds of men, meaning minds, internally, as well as addressing issues for humanity that are taking place out in the environment, out in the world, as we call it. But it's first and foremost addressing those issues that are right inside of you. Fikum. They are in all of us. They're in all of you. They're not to be seen with the physical eye. When they're being spoken on, they're to be seen first and foremost with the inner eye, what Stevie Wonder used to call inner vision. That's the world that is ruling us. That's the world that is giving us our marching orders. Your instincts, for instance, you can't see those. But those instinctive prompts are what are creating certain levels of responses in you. Your emotional prompts, dictates, the thing that made you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You didn't realize that was coming, but somebody said a word and you got triggered by that word because you did not understand the fabric that your emotional nature was made of in order to guard against that response. They call it being triggered. You have intellectual responses to things that are automatic because people are playing. They're playing on your solar plexus energies. And that is where your ego resides. So they're playing on your ego. Lego my ego. That's the ego. Nobody wants you messing around with their ego because that's how you see yourself and that's how you think other people see you through your ego. It might not be that at all, but that's what you think because we've been created like that. We've been programmed. That's a part of the programming that I keep telling you about that the word halakha means. Not created like a clay, created like programmed, like you program a computer. The original program in a computer is its best work. But when you get inside of it and you begin to tinker with it and take this part out and put that part in and take this program out and put a whole new program in that's designed to do some tricky dicky stuff like pornography. And so you put all that in it and it wasn't designed for that. So here you are trying to operate what used to be an A1 system of computer technology. But you are trying to make it operate like Superfly on the corner of 125th Street and 8th Avenue.
Babe,
It doesn't work like that.
watch yourself. Could you make me half a sandwich or something?
Oh boy.
Little chips or something?
Yeah, before you go away with the chips, Adib,
Yes.
we can hear you. We can hear you. So, all right. Thank you, sir. All right. So there are things to know about ourselves and how we operate, how we function, and how we are formed before we can say that we are informed persons in society. You can't say that until you first understand how you are formed. You are formed first. You are informed later. How many of you can tell me what you were doing and thinking and running into as situations when you were 1, 2 years old, maybe 3? You just started to get some kind of memory of what was going on in your life. You can't tell me what happened in the womb of your mama. Some people say they can, but that's really rare. Most people, when they cannot tell you what they were doing in their fourth month of gestation in their mother's belly. So you don't have knowledge of what was going on intrinsically inside of you when you were that age because you're not being informed at that age. You're being formed. Let's continue. So Allah says, and I'll read the English just for time's sake and translate what needs to be translated. Say ye, speaking to all of these people, we believe in Allah and the revelation given to us and to Abraham, Ismail, Isaac, Jacob, and the tribes, and that given to Moses and Jesus, and that given to all prophets from their Rabbah. Listen to this. We make no difference between one and another of them, and we bow to Allah. And it says, as Muslims, we bow to Allah, nahnu lahu muslimun. That's collective. Nahnu, that's all of us. We bow to Allah as Muslimun, Muslims. So if this is true, and we know it's true because it's the word of Allah, then that means that many of the people that we are dismissing as Muslims, we just dismiss them, the Buddhist, the Hindu, the whoever. A lot of the humans on this planet aren't even given a chance for real life because you're not doing your job, Muslim. Your job of introducing them to the fullness of revelation, you don't want to do it because you just readily accept them as kafir, kufar. They're born unbelievers. They're born astray and they're going to die astray. That's our attitude towards many of the people on this planet who believe that their system of faith is correct. But we don't have any system of outreach. We don't care to do any da'wah with these people. The Zoroastrians, we have a terrible history of people who call themselves Zoroastrians. Terrible. Over there in what used to be called Persia. It's Iran now. Pay attention to the places that are popping up on your screen recently. It was called Iran, ancient Persia. But we're not really paying that much attention to what's going on in ancient Persia as long as they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. We think that's the end of the story for them. They need no more growth and development. And then you got another side of us that argue with them, even though they said La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. And we still say, well, they're not Muslims like we are Muslims, so they're not real Muslims. See? And the whole game begins to go downhill from there in terms of our relationship, even with other people who say they are Muslims. So unless you're a Sunni Muslim, or if you're on the other side, unless you're a Shia Muslim, we don't accept you not even as a Muslim because we don't know what a real Muslim is. Not to mention our righteously inclined Christian and Jewish. Be careful for this next word. Brothers and sisters. Hope that word didn't hit you too hard. That they are also your brothers and sisters in faith. But they believe in shirk, so do you. You Muslims, you're some of the biggest mushrik on this planet right now. Worshipping things that have nothing to do with surrendering to your source creator. Naturally and normally. Like I said, the sun comes up and goes down naturally and normally. There's no, if you're not looking at it, you might miss it because there's no loudness to it. Like you see when religious people take over another religious people, it's loud and it's bloody and it's violent when you go and subdue other people in a way that Allah says, do not do. La ikraha fid din. Let there be no compelling and compulsion and forcing in the deen. Truth stands out clearly from error. Therefore, let those who have faith in this, let them have faith. And let those who do not have faith, let them leave. And Allah will work it all out in the end. He didn't say, I'll stomp them into the ground because they didn't accept this. He didn't say, line them up against the wall and machine gun them all because they refuse to say what we say. Once we begin to recognize that the majority of the Muslims, I'm not here to tell other religious communities what to do. That's their job. Their job is to complete their deen based on the evolution of information that's available now to every person who is out in the public, at least. But the ones who say that we are Muslims, this is your red herring. This is a situation you have to deal with because there is taking place as we speak. And if you don't see it yet, you're going to see it very clearly in another year or two or less. There's a very serious separation taking place on earth right now. And it's not to be between Muslim and Christian or Jews and Muslims or who, the Baptist convention and, the Catholic Church. It's not that kind of separation. There's a consciousness that is dawning in the world, and it is going to allow us to not submit, but to surrender our ignorance in a way where the encroaching enlightenment will become clearer and clearer and clearer to the point where it will be undeniable who the real troublemakers on this planet actually are. And many of them are going to be wearing kufis and khimars. Some of them will be wearing yarmulkes. Others will be wearing whatever the Pope's cap is called. They're going to be all over the place. And they will be indistinguishable. They will be troublemakers. They will be people who advocate for corruption. It's coming out, it's bubbling over now. But nobody's attaching a religious title to it except to say that the Muslims are the bad people right now. They used to say it was the Jews. They're the bad people right now. And there was a time in history, not really that long ago, when they said it's the Christians who are the bad people. So Allah has to come along and correct the concept and the perception, as William mentioned earlier. Allah has to correct the perception of these people in the eyes of those who have respect for Allah's fitrah. And he says about the Christians that the closest to you, talking to Muslims, are those who say, we are Christians. Allah didn't say the closest to you are the Christians. He said the closest to you are those who say, quote, we are Christians, because that's their perception. So one of the tasks of the Muslim population is to correct the perception that people have of each other and of themselves. But we're not there yet. The first perception we have to correct is the perception that we have about ourselves. What is a Muslim? Why do I even want to be that? You want to be that because it's the most consistent idea that you have that is able to regulate the very nature upon which you were created. It agrees with all of what is going on inside of you, psychologically, in your nervous system, in your tendencies. All of those things that go into making you who you are as a true person, that's what a Muslim is. And if you could just align those topics of discussion with each other to the point where they become consistent with each other, to the point where they become regulated by each other, to the point where your whole system becomes peaceful, then you have your Muslim, you got them back. And it has nothing to do with whether you took a Shahada or not, or whether you go to the synagogue or not, or whether you go to the Catholic Church or the Baptist Church. All of those things will begin to work themselves out if you are standing upon the precipice of what is your fitrah, what the fitrah is demanding of you. And your fitrah is demanding of you the same thing that Mother Nature demands of the baby, that as long as his essential life is being preserved, looked over, he's going to be at peace. You want to be peaceful? You want to call yourself the peacemakers? You have to look at those parts of the world where peace is for real in nature and say, now, what did that life form do to get to that level of development? Because the baby came here kicking and screaming, if you remember. Kicking and screaming and hollering, nothing to say because he didn't have language like we know language. So he's kicking, he's screaming, he's hungry, he's thirsty, he's scared. It's all of the things that humanity is right now. The Quran calls that level of peace, it doesn't call it peace. It calls that level of activity and nas, consonantally connected, by the way, with the English word noise, consonantally connected with the word nasty. You think these words came into our vocabulary accidentally? Or do you think it was after hundreds of years of study of the Quran, after the Quran had been introduced to different parts of Europe? Yeah. That's why they know to make words, to develop words that contain these consonantal connections that they found in the Quran and in the Arabic language. They had them in the Hebrew language, which is basically the same language as Arabic, if you didn't know that. But the Hebrew followers of Musa and of the Torah, they lost that information. That information got buried. So it had to be revived. So pay attention. We've already gotten the basic idea of my topic for today, and we're not going to go that far from this point. Just understand that if you are a true Muslim, you should be believing in the revelation that was given to not only the Muslims, but also to Abraham, Ismail, Ishaq or Isaac, Yaqub or Jacob and the tribes. Do you even know who the tribes are, Muslims? Okay. That which was given to Musa and Isa equally, and that given to all of the prophets from the Rabbah, the one who evolved their messages in the world. And then it says, we make no difference between one and another of them. That's a deep portion of the Quran that I just read to you. And we bow to Allah as Muslims. Now, again, I want you to reread this before you go to Jummah on Friday. And then when you get to Jummah, you look around at the people who you're fraternizing with and exchanging ideas with and having conversations and maybe arguments with. And I want you to decide, is are they this people that we just read about who believe in all of these different things that they never talk about on the most part? They never discuss it. They never ask the question, who are these people? We're supposed to believe in these people, but we think belief is just something, it's just a word. There's no way that Allah wants us to believe in all of these people. We don't know about all of, you don't know about all of these people because you don't know about you. You think all of these people are indications of people who lived in yesteryear or in history. All of these people are archetypes that live in you, presently speaking. I'll give you time to take a breath right there. All of these people are types, archetypes they're called, that live in you today. When next year gets here, they'll still be living in you as vibrantly as they're living in you today. It will never change what these people represent for you, in you. Some of them represent how your genes operate. Some of them represent how your instinctive drives operate. Others of them represent how your emotional nature operates. You see how much water Musa had to deal with in his lifetime? He had to save a whole people by bringing them across the water. So because we're not in touch with the higher levels of meaning that these words bring to the table, we're not understanding what the source creator is presenting to us in picture language, but not simple language. Not always easy to understand and digest language. That's where our work is, to understand and dedicate ourselves to information that's going to explain to us what has been left unexplained in so-called religion. Let's continue. Hope y'all are having a nice, good time. I am. I'm having a wonderful time. Yeah. Now, this is the ayah that contains the definitive description of what the Muslim life is. It is a life of consistency with all legitimate scriptures. By scripture, we're talking about script, which is a form of communication that is a few steps above print. Look at the word print. It is the parent form of communication, which eventually gives birth to script. No child learns script first. Now we're talking about the English language, but I'm using this as the best example. No child comes here being taught script first by his or her teachers. It's the parents that give us the pattern. These are all the same letters. That's what I'm showing you. The parents is responsible for the print. That means the easy to digest and the easy thing that you have to learn to write down when you're learning how to write words. You don't have to do it all at one time. You don't have to connect A to B to C like you do in script. All you have to do is learn how to make one singular letter at a time, because that is where the pattern is. If you can study the pattern of writing, then you'll eventually come into the connections in the patterns that give us the word's essence or meaning or understanding. Script is the type of writing that allows us to make connections in the writing. Very rarely will you have to lift your pen while writing script. We can't learn script until our minds are developed enough to make these connections without allowing the pen to leave the page. So therefore, script is essentially the art of learning connections. Connections, what kind of connections? Instructor Bilal. Connections in what Imam Muhammad called the logic. You have to learn how to make connections in the logic. What logic? The logic of al-fitrah. The fitrah, as simple as it might look, it has a language connected to it. The rock that you look at, the sunrise that you view on a daily basis, the starry sky that you see on a clear night, all of that stuff looks simple. It's all print. It's the parent of what you're about to learn. And if you stick with it long enough, it's going to leave its parent position and become your supervisor. As information, it will begin to supervise you. The so-called scholars of Islam have elevated some prophets above others, especially in regard to Muhammad, who many Muslims say is the best of all the prophets because he brought the Quran. Muhammad, however, did not bring the Quran. I have to duck right here. There might be somebody out there in cyberspace taking shots at me. Well, I don't hear anything, so I'm guessing it's safe to continue. Yes, these scholars tell us that Muhammad is the best of all prophets because he brought the Quran. But I say again that he did not bring the Quran. The source creator revealed the Quran. أنزل القرآن خلق الإنسان. Never says that Muhammad revealed the Quran. The prophet delivers the message in the same way that your mailman delivers your mail. It does not matter personally who the mailman is, does it? Because it's not Jack the mailman that you're used to seeing 3 times a week. You're not going to accept the mail when he puts it in your box. You might not even see him put it in your box because your interest is not in who delivers the mail. Your interest is in what the mail is here to tell you. Is your check here? Or is your 3-day notice in the mail? 3 week, whatever it is, before they put you out. They got to send you something certified. Yeah, some of the mail comes certified. Again, it doesn't matter personally who the mailman is. That's why Allah can make all of them the same thing. He can give all of them equal legitimacy because they're not working for themselves. They're working for the post office. Allah's post office. And the only question is whether he delivered the mail to your address. You go to the post office, you say, hey, I was looking for this piece of mail for the past 2 weeks and it hasn't gotten to my house. What happened? Can you trace not the postman? You want to trace that line of messaging, that line of mail movement. Did he deliver it to the right address? Or did it get sent back to the post office as undeliverable, or whatever the word is they use? After he does that, his responsibility, the male person, male or female, that responsibility to you is over. It's done. There's a suffix in the Quran when it comes to the word Muhammad. And unbeknownst to most Muslims, the word Muhammad in the Quran is given a generic ending. Now, I've told you this before. Some of you never heard it. Most of you heard it and didn't understand it. So I'm going to break it down to you, ABC, 1, 2, 3, the way I know you can't understand it. In Surah 33, Ayah 40, listen to what Allah says. Makana Muhammadun Aba Ahadin min rijalikum walakin Rasulullah wa khatamal nabiyyin wa kana lahu bikulli shay'in alima. That Muhammad, that we all up to this point was thinking was a physical man in history, delivering a physical message through a physical book, an individual. It says here, Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. We say, well, it's because he had daughters. Isn't that the reason why he's not the... There you go again. That he's not the father of any single one, ahadin, of or from among your rijalikum. And we think that means physical male muscle people, physical males, rijal. See, we have all of these distorted, out of context meanings for Quranic phraseology that it's not only difficult, but absolutely impossible to understand the essence of the Quranic message when we have so many mistakes in these translations. The words are not wrong. The understanding is incorrect. The word rijal does not only have to mean a male person. You can be a female and be a part of the rijal group. You can be a male and be a part of the nisa group that we call women, because it's talking about archetypes and roles that are being played, that are being manifested, that are being initialized by the source creator to perform certain roles in society. You know, this word rijalun, we look at it and we say that's the men, but you don't understand why they're translating it as men. First of all, it's because they're mistaken and they just made a big boo-boo. Arijalu kawamuna ala anisa, that the men are the providers and the protectors of the women or over the women. And we think that means this guy, that guy. No, it means this guy. Here's your rijal. Here's your leading force in the society. It's the men Paul, not the men male. And the mentor is the provider for the nisa, the softer side, the side that might be operating too much on the emotional principle, that it can't see the logic in what to do. So the forces that override logic are nisa also. What overrides logic? Your urges, your base urges. There's your Nisa, that prompt in you that looks at that girl and says, "Oh, baby." I can name 10 different songs that speak about it, but I don't like to keep repeating those songs except to do some, some of this academic stuff that I'm doing with you. A guy meets a girl on a dance floor and he wants to go home with her that night. I think that's what's his name? What's that guy? Uh, I forget all these guys' names, but these little singers that come out and they get number one hit songs talking about this stuff. Those are your urges. That's male and female have these urges, and they're not designed to be in the forefront. Do you know that there are certain dogs that run in packs? I'm sure you know this. You've seen it. If there are 3 or 4 dogs, there's going to be one of them that takes the leading position in the pack. He's the leader. He's actually, in effect, telling the other dogs what to do and when they can do it. You have some that occupy the middle of the pack, and they're kind of keeping things together, keeping things connected, keeping, if this one sees that one behind him go off, he gets up behind him and he pushes them back to wherever they're supposed to be in the pack. Then you have some that are naturally designed to be the end of the pack. But you got all kinds of dogs and they have different levels of natures, meaning of frequencies that dictate to them what they should be doing. You have sheep herding dogs. They like being in the front. They're the ones who get in the front of the lambs or the whatever animal, the horses, and tell them which way to go. The cows, they tell the cows which way to go. And it's the same thing among Nas, the people. Allah tells you that they are like cattle, but even worse. You know why they're worse? Because human emotions and human disturbances in the psychological sense, they're not designed to take the human person into his and her evolutionary development. They are only designed to take the human personality into its earthly, its lower register of frequencies. Family life, how to have a baby, you got to do this and that and that and that, and raising a small tribe where you don't have to have any kind of sophisticated anything to raise a family. You don't have to even have a school system because it's elementary. The level of attention that you need to pay to a decent amount of education is minuscule at that level. When you start moving up and up and up the ladder of education, then you have to have a more sophisticated program of teaching and information. The Quran has the most sophisticated level of teaching and information because you were not created to live solely on the level of Nas. You were not designed to live solely within the framework of noise. Nas. Nasty. Shaking the rump. Grabbing the crotch in your performances. That's not the level that the source creator created you to live on and created for you to influence my 5-year-old child to live on. Now he's grabbing his crotch, not my 5-year-old, but other people's 5-year-old. He got in trouble for that because other people's 5-year. I'm not blaming him for anything. I'm just saying what I saw in the demonstration of these little 5 and 7-year-olds and 12-year-olds that were following his example. They were out there wearing leather and belt buckles and all kinds of S&M outfits and grabbing their crotches. Because that's how the human being is designed. He's designed as clay. And if you don't know or learn how to control that clay and people from putting their fingerprints on you and molding you into what they want you to be instead of what the source creator created you to be, how he created you to be programmed. If you don't know what that is, you're in a world of trouble. Continuing. So Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, meaning he's not the one who is in charge of your logic. He is not the one who is in charge of your independent movements. Why do I say independent movements? Because the word rijal is related also to a word that means leg. Rajal. It means literally the leg. This leg is supporting a body independent of anybody else's help, independent of the help of a wheelchair, crutches, another person that I'm leaning on. No, the rijal, he doesn't need that kind of assistance. All he needs is balance. That's it. When you learn that one lesson from the Quran, you good to go. You can just build from there, from that logic, that you don't need to lean on someone else necessarily. You don't need to lean on this philosophy, this ideology, this psychology. Wherever you are in the scope of things, all you have to learn to do is be balanced. Don't lean too much to the left side. Do not lean too much to the right side. Don't do the smooth criminal lean forward because you're going to bust your butt. I can tell you that right now. I don't do it. But there are people who broke their necks trying to do that lean, not knowing that it was just a trick in the shoe that was allowing him, Michael Jackson I'm speaking of, to lean forward and look like he was about to fall over and didn't fall. But that's not the human design for the leg. So Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. And the word Muhammad is actually Muhammadun. Those of you who read Arabiya or Arabic, you know what this sign, right? This tanween dumma represents. The sound of dun, and it is generic, not specific. If this were a specific word, it would say al-Muhammad. No un. Al-Muhammad. But it doesn't say that. It says Muhammad, two M's, Madun. D-U-N sound. And you see it here in their transliteration. They put it right there in front of your face, but they didn't put in front of your face what it means. It's generic. It means that it cannot possibly be referring to one individual. It's referring to a type. Un, an, in. Tanween, it's called. It refers to a generic type that's the same everywhere you find that type. So wherever you find a Muhammad, that's who this is referring to. Because Muhammad is not one person. Argue if you want, but you'll be arguing with yourself. Take it to your Arabic scholars. Don't argue if you don't know how to read Arabic. You're wasting your time. And if you do know how to read Arabic and you're going to take it to your sheikh or any of the sheikhs that you have in the masjid or wherever, be careful when you tell them what I'm telling you now, because they won't have a retort for it. They'll just get angry at you for listening to me. But otherwise, you want to even waste your time with wasting my time with the Quran, with trying to understand it more completely. So you listeners, you're the ones who better be careful who you share this information. I'm not saying not to share it. Just be careful who you share it with. If you don't have the kind of time to sit around and try and argue with people, I don't argue with anybody. Period. It's not worth it. Muhammad is not the father, the generic father of any of your men, the people who swear by a particular logic that they are saying is upholding their system. Your body is a system. Your legs are upholding this system independently is the key word. Do you know just standing up is an amazing feat for a human being? Just standing up on two legs. Not to mention doing what Michael Jordan does on the basketball court floor. The twisting, the turning, the going around 3 times before he gets to the hoop and then dunking it. That's impossible, you would think, for a man to do with just himself and his legs. This is wonderful if you understand it. But he is the messenger of Allah and the seal of the prophets. And Allah has full knowledge of all things. He is the messenger of Allah. Where is that? Walakin Rasulah. Rasulallahi. He is the, meaning he exists as this that we're about to give you as a phrase. He exists right now as a Rasul of Allah. Now, what is this? Rasul, and we'll be through. I'll save the rest for next week. When planting a seed into the soil, once it is planted, you do not have to continue digging up the seed and replanting it. It will begin sprouting and growing on its own. We're talking fitrah now. The Nabi, that's the Arabic word for prophet. And I can understand it because the other meaning for the other word prophet means your earnings. How did early man earn his keep? By planting seeds and harvesting fruit and vegetables. So the Nabi extends the revelation to you that he receives from Allah. And it is designed for you to be able to hold on to it. The word for that is grasp. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm only giving you new insights into old words that you believed you already understood. And you did. You just didn't understand them on this expanded level. What it means to grasp something.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm trying to follow the logic that you gave. Hand is yadun. Noun is kaf. The palm of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Nah?
Partly.
Right, but
Yed represents the fiveness of your hand.
okay.
All of this. Kaf represents the center of your hand. You need both in order to operate the hand.
Shukran.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you for the
ask if I
question.
don't know. I ain't gonna lay in the cut.
That's what you're sitting there for, master instructor.
You know what I mean? Shukran.
You didn't think you were going to just get that one for free, did you? Yeah. That's beautiful because you're helping to bring extended understanding to people who might not even have that question, but needed to know that answer. This
Instructor,
is wonderful. That's what a class is about. Yes, sir. Please.
that brought something to my mind
Mhm.
with this part of the hand representing the grasp and the circular constitution of the human life, and whereas the fingers are really looking at the manipulation of the sensitivities of the frequencies
Wonderful.
and the uh, interaction and manipulation even of the environment.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's key and crucial to understand. That's what the fingers represent. They represent each one of your five basic senses. As your senses wrap around environment, the information from the environment that is feeding those senses. And you have to wrap around it before you grasp it. It's a process in nature that we're talking about. You notice most babies come here like this, with their hands closed. And sometimes you try to stick your finger in there and can't do it.
Yeah.
You right? Then after a while, yeah, they want to be with you. So, you're walking with them to the store when they learn to walk and they're still grabbing you. In their early life, they're grasping, they're trying to grasp. They're trying to grab. Then they'll go to school, kindergarten, and the teacher will say, okay, everybody has to hold another person's hand. These are fitra signals to the intellect about growth and development. So this is all the Nabi. The Nabi is that level of vegetation that grows in the garden that has been planted. See, Allah says that He has created us to grow like plants grow. The word for that is nabata, from the same root. Nabata, to grow in the same manner as plants grow. That means somewhere in you, there was a seed planted.
Salaam alaikum nabata, he established.
Another way of saying it, yes.
Okay, I'm just trying
yeah.
to.
No, that's right. He established his garden. What you're establishing is internal. All of this really belongs in my psychology class, which I will be getting into also on Tuesday for those of you who are members there. But all of this language is human psychology at its finest. And I can even say its most pure level. Bashir, you wanted to speak or ask a question? Is that Bashir with his hand raised?
You're muted, Bashir.
Yes, I know. Thank you. I just wanted to say that from the time that I started in this in the early to mid 70s, when Imam Muhammad came in, I knew that this was going to be able to allow me to go to a quote unquote university level, because I now have a real idea than just declaring myself as one who follows the will of Allah and that type of thing.
Yes.
This is way more than this, because this is more expressive and enhansive.
I agree.
And so with all the mistakes along the road and misunderstandings, this comes to a much more complete and enhanced and natural form of being in the relationship of life in general and humanity. So I just wanted to say that, and I just wanted to share that with you.
That's great input.
In public.
That's
so
great input.
Share where I'm at in this.
Yeah, and what I'd like to see by this time next week, I'm inviting all of you to do this, is listen to this replay at some point before next Sunday. And then on Sunday, as I do part 2 of this same conversation, this same topic, I want you to be able to give some input also, like you're doing now. This is the kind of topic where input from other people becomes welcomed and necessary. So I thank all of you for your opinions and your statements. I don't care how many times you make them. This is for purposes of gaining understanding in this language. And who would I be to say, just limit what you ask or don't ask that question? I didn't give you permission to answer. But no, you take a trip to City College or such and such university and sit in on their English classes, 101, 101, 102, whatever. Sit in on their psychology classes, Freud and Jung and whoever else, just sit there and listen and take notes and then come back here and listen to us speak on the same topics, and then you tell us who gave you the more expansive version. And when I say expansive, I only mean he gave you, meaning myself in this case, gave you information that helps you be a better human being. If you're not going to school to learn that, what are you going to school for?
That's right.
Just how to make more money? So that's where we need to be in terms of our growth and development, our progress. You're not learning how to be a better husband or wife or neighbor or cousin or grandchild. Nothing in what you're learning is teaching you how to be a better human. That's what being a better Muslim is all about. Because a true Muslim is a true human. And we're going to prove that in part 2 next week. Again, there's too much to go through for me to finish this conversation today. I promised myself that I wouldn't take you that far into the water. But next week, we'll be able to extend this conversation. So let me finish this page and maybe a little bit of the next one, and we'll be through. Remember, the word Nabi has been translated as prophet. And there's a lot to be said about this word in the Quran. Because again, we think it's this person in history. There's this long running argument about whether Adam was a prophet or not. And they say, well, he's never called a prophet. Not in the way you've been taught. I'm sure somebody like Imam Adib and even William will be able to find it when Allah starts speaking about Adam and how he was taught. You'll see the word staring back at you, but not as what you normally would think is a prophet. Like he's saying he's a prophet. No. But he's using essentially the same word from the same root to explain Adam. So if Adam was created with the prophet nature, and we are all children of Adam, Banu Adam, then you got some of that in you too. Yeah. Whatever that is, and we'll discuss what that is on a larger scale next week. But whatever that is that Allah deposited into the prophets, he deposited into humanity that becomes awakened to their own possibilities. Not just everybody. Not anybody you just pass at Walmart. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about key people who are conscious of their development. And that's not everybody. That's not even most people. That's what Allah says in the Quran. And most people don't know. He says that about a lot of situations, and most of them are unaware. Most of them do not have knowledge. Because the Quran did not come to speak to most people. It came to speak to selected individuals who have had their consciousness awakened. That consciousness is what Allah is calling Allah in the Quran. That's what people don't understand. When you read the word Allah, he's saying this consciousness, this overarching, all-encompassing consciousness that embraces this entire, what you call reality. All of this belongs to Allah. And as I told you about the fitrah, if you don't know what the fitrah is, you can't benefit from it. You can only benefit from it peripherally as it touches you. You're under the tree and an apple falls on your head or something, but you don't really know what just happened to you. No, he didn't know that was gravity doing that. He just knew he had an apple for lunch that day. So we have to become more cognizant and more conscious of our development is the point. And we do that through the grasping of messages from the fitrah The Nabi extends the revelation to you that he receives from Allah, and it is designed for you to be able to hold on to it. Allah did not design the human five senses so that information would fall on it and it had no way of holding on to it. We call it memory. That's how he designed the human mind, so that when things hit you, you're able to grasp it. We grasp a thing with our five senses. We grasp a thing mentally with our five senses. Pardon me, we grasp a thing with our five fingers, but we grasp a thing mentally with our five senses. Our sense perception, and I know William didn't know I had that word in my notes. He used it in his presentation. Our sense perception must be able to grip the information and bring it towards oneself. Normally, if you see somebody grab something, a newspaper, with it, they're doing it so to bring it closer to themselves. The self is called the nafs. We'll go over that next week, next 7 days, in the next 7 days, inshallah. The nafs is the breathing soul. It's not just the soul. It's the soul that is experiencing a reciprocal reality. That is the taking in of energies and the dispensing or giving out of energies. The nafs is the breathing soul. Allah says, when I have breathed into him of my ruh, then all you knuckleheads, you're going to start making sajda in his direction. So you want to know how to get the world of created matter to do your bidding? It's easy. Discipline your nafs, discipline your ruh to be able to respond to your commands. There are people who can sit right in their living room chair and think in a way which by the end of the day, what they were thinking about having or doing has been made manifest for them. Sounds spooky? It's real because I do it. I have done it. It can be hit and miss because it's a discipline. And I don't have the time right now to do what the monks do or with the highly disciplined people who study the human spirit and the human soul and how it operates. I haven't had that kind of time. Not with all of the children Allah has gifted me with, and now grandchildren. I got to spend a lot of time with a whole lot of other humans. It's not as easy to break off and find a mountain like Muhammad did in his beginnings. How many times did he go back to that mountain? You know, read about that. You have time. And to be honest with you, it's not necessary to go back that many times. That return journey is right here. You don't have to physically go anywhere. It's right here. So the nafs, I repeat, is the breathing soul. And it is able to take in and give out like all breath does. It does this to keep your entire body alive and operational. The word Nabi is consonantally connected to the English word knob, K-N-O-B. And it refers to that which is extended a bit above and beyond the surface. That's your hint. There's surface knowledge, we call it academics. But then there is knowledge that Allah reveals to humans from time to time. That is actually it above. You know how Allah says he created the human being a bit above the angels? That's what I'm talking about. A bit above. You receive ideas sometimes, inspiration. How do you think these big rocket ships got here? How do you think these fast and furious automobiles showed up on planet Earth? And that's just the smallest part of what I'm talking about. That's on the minor end of the inventions that we walk away with as humans. Do you know how much more civilized today's humans are than humans were 100 years ago, 300 years ago? We weren't even wearing our own sense of what we thought was beautiful clothing. We were all wearing the same thing that other people wore. In America, in the 20s and the 30s, go back and look at those photos, and you're going to see everybody. You couldn't distinguish anybody from the next person. They're all wearing black suits and black hat. You would have thought you got airlifted to a Jewish or Hasidic Orthodox Jewish community. You see the way they dress? That's how all the Americans were dressing, basically. Unless you were deep in the country somewhere, then you had some tattered clothes or something different. But in the cities, when the cities started to evolve, that's what you found. And as the evolution continued, that's what I mean by revelation never ceases. The information that Allah brought through his revelation is still being evolved. And you should be shouting for joy at that one. It's still evolving. You don't need a new physical book. The book is the whole creation. the kitab, that's everything you're looking at that sends a message to your mind, as Wally said. Not just words on a page, anything that sends a message to your mind. That's what a word is. All right. Lastly, so we know that a knob is placed on a door so that you'll be able to grasp it and open up new portals for yourself, new areas to investigate. The knob, you can push it, you can pull it, but the knob gives you easier access to a greater space. And it refers to that which is extended a bit above and beyond the surface. Hassan, Hassan, your phone is open, sir. Thank you. Yeah. So the African nation known as Nubia, you see the N and the B in there also. Nubia means gold or golden. It was also named so because it stood out among the African nations a bit above and beyond its ordinary nations. I hope you can see the connection there to what I just told you. The Quranic Arabic word naba means tremendous news. It's the name of one of our surahs in the Quran. It means news that is above and beyond ordinary news. And this is also something that people want to get their hands on and even manipulate. Naba'a and naba'a. So it's giving you insight into extended meanings for what we have simply been calling prophets. So we have not been taught correctly what a prophet is, and we have not been taught correctly what a messenger is. The word messenger belongs to the idea of the message itself, not a person necessarily. In the same way that you don't put the emphasis on the mailman. You put the emphasis on the information you got from reading the mail. Because the message in the mail is the important message, not who brought you the mail. So with that said, and I think that's enough to start some trouble, which is not my goal or my motive, but I know it will for some people. I say that, but nobody really contacts me to say that I caused a problem. Most people who contact me say, you freed me. I kind of thought that it might have been in that direction, but I wasn't sure because nobody else was saying that. The sheikh and the shakers and the bishop and the rabbi, they weren't telling me that. So Instructor Bilal is letting you know that. And it's beautiful because it causes you to understand that none of us are special people, that there's no priesthood, there's no magic, abracadabra, mental people who can solve all of your problems and bring you all the material access and go through all of these things that we see in the movies and we see in on the television about the so-called stars. That should tell you something right there. They don't want you on earth. They want you always looking up to where other people are and admiring other people, knowing that you can't reach that level. So you just have to admire them. That's not true. You can reach practically any level that you put your mind to reaching. Just don't understand incorrectly that these people are what you are not. It's really that simple. Don't think they have a potential, that they have a nature, a human nature that is above and beyond what the source creator gave you. They don't have motivation that's beyond yours. They don't have resources. They have the same fitrah, the same access to nature, even if it's in their backyard. They don't have to go to a college or university to get higher understanding of it. All you have to do is be patient enough. Just get some dirt from your backyard, put it in a bowl, put some water, get some seeds, and watch it. And then stop messing with it. That's the reason we fail, because we keep messing with the experiment. Just pay attention, because anything you pay attention to, what happens? It expands. That's right. So if you have humongous problems in your life, you want to know why you have them? Because you're paying attention to them. If you don't have enough money in the bank, you want to know why you don't have enough money? Because you're not paying attention to the science of money making. It's really that simple. Pay. That's why they put pay in the sentence. Pay attention. Because paying attention will pay off. And it's not always physical coins and dollars that we're talking about. Isn't your brain power a special gift and trust that Allah has loaned to you? Allah calls it a loan, not a gift. You don't get to hold on to it forever. You won't have to, because what he has coming behind the loan is going to set you free forever, because it's attached to the functionality of your soul. He can free your body. A master in a slavery camp can free your body. He won't even call it freedom. He'll call it independence, like they did with America. The Declaration, not of freedom. Can't have that. The Declaration of Independence. So you can move around independently. You can go to this town and jump on Amtrak and get to that town, and jump on the American Airlines and get to the other city and other country. You can do all of that independently, but it doesn't mean you are free. Free is here. Freedom. That's what freedom is. Freedom. If your dome is not free to think and reason and work it out, you are not truly free. No matter where you're from, this is not a black man thing that I'm talking about. The so-called white man ain't free either. Very few humans on this planet are free. You're independent, but you're definitely not free. You want to know when you're free? In my last word, when you are free to say no. If you're not free to say No, I don't want to work this job anymore. No, you're giving me too much hell in my life. I don't want to be married to you anymore. You're causing too much hell, and my children are going crazy listening to your guidance and your advice. No, I'm not going to keep putting up with that. No, this liquor is just tearing my family apart. I'm going to encourage everybody to stop drinking this stuff and stop smoking this other stuff in the back room. And no, I'm not doing this anymore. And when you're free to say, no, I'm not going to do something, that's when the beginning of your freedom starts. In the way that Allah started to know when He said, La ilaha illallah. His first word wasn't Naam. Come on, let's do this. His first word in the major context of the message of Al Quran was no. La ilaha illallah. So, with that understood, I will, if anyone has a couple of questions or some short something that they want to say to close out today's session, that would be fine to do at this point. If not, then we'll just go on about our day's business because it's what I call early. It's early to me. 3:48. Oh man.
I just wanted to share some things that's happened here just in the last couple of days.
Please
Really
do.
kind of underline the points you just made. My like I said, the second to the oldest daughter just graduated after 20 years of sitting out of college. She just graduated, decided to go back, and she graduated with a degree in psychology. So we had good conversation over the last couple of days. We had a lot of time. We all stayed in an Airbnb for the last 3 days. So we had a lot of time to talk to each other.
Beautiful.
And my youngest daughter was there. This is the reason why I mentioned both of them. They came along and we were by no means as advanced as we are now in our class environment with having the words that dominated the homescape, not the landscape, but the homescape, right? We didn't have the type of word environment that would really kind of maybe max out their growth now, back then when they were coming up. But the last two of the children had a better environment than the first ones. And this is what happened. The second to the oldest, she gained a real love and appreciation for common people. You know, what we might call back in the day the kids in the ghetto or the hood rats. You know,
Yeah.
she developed an affinity to them, and she got real close to some of the rap artists over the years, and she almost married one of them. But so she had that kind of. That's one who came to she just majored in psychology, right? And so she's fresh out of college. She got almost a 4.0 grade average GPA,
Wow.
3.9 something, you know. And so
That's
the
great.
information is fresh on her mind. So I started asking her questions about her courses that she just finished. And so by the time she got finished explaining her courses, I usually ended up with one question: well, why did the person who presented this particular point, why did they say that? And she couldn't answer. And in order for me to give her more insight to what she had spent all of that time and effort in, and which she aced out, I took her to you mentioned backyard. I took her to my backyard.
Yeah.
And letting the leaves fall out of trees, building a compost heap, turning it to dirt. Everything you just said.
Yeah. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's the classroom. That's the first Fitrah classroom.
That's it. So when I gave her that, she finally, I could tell about the expression on her face. She finally was grasping what she had just spent all that time, all that academic time struggling with and mastering to a certain degree. But she didn't have a good grasp.
Yeah.
You know. So we helped her with that. Now the youngest one was able to have enough of an environment that she was 8 years between the second to the youngest. And so she was the last child. She was like one of those unexpected. We wanted 6, we got 7. So she was
Wow.
that 7, the unexpected one, right?
Mhm.
She was so intuitive until she decided that by the time she was 30 years old, she was going to travel to 30 foreign countries. She did that.
That's
She,
what I'm talking about.
yes, you talking about manifesting a few minutes ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
creating.
That's
She
right.
learned
That's
how to
right.
do that. She got
Yes.
so good. She went and she also studied Robert Kiyosaki. Imam Muhammad pointed us to
Yes.
study.
That's right.
She used to go and play the game, Cash Flow. She used to go
Yeah.
with me and she spent dozens of times with me learning that game.
Hmm.
And it became part of her psyche. You know, she internalized it. And so so she's the only one of my children that she just told me she just purchased her second investment property, and it's a group home that she bought into. And she also decided to quit her job.
Yeah.
She had maxed out. She was the best salesperson they had.
Mm.
She quit that job to develop some other business efforts for herself. But before she quit, she invested in the company, maxed out their investment opportunity. I'm just saying all these things to
Yeah.
let us know what's possible for us
What the
and how
possibilities
far,
are.
what the possibilities are and how rich the environment that we have now in this Nunetics environment. It's far
Yes.
beyond what I had back then,
Yes, sir. Yes,
far
sir.
beyond. So I just want to excite everybody about what we're doing, and about the more we get into it, even if we can't see ourselves doing it personally, immediately for ourselves, we can do it for our children, our grandchildren, or somebody else down the street. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Right on the
That's
head.
why I said excited about it. So,
You hit it right on the head. Yeah. This is great. I know there are a lot of people who are not in the queues here, but if you have anything to say or to ask, this would be a great time to do it also. I don't see Patricia, and we were trying to give her a little birthday shout out, but she'll get it in the replay, I guess. We're wishing you all you know, all of the great things that come along with the recognition that you're still here. It's a lot of great things that come along with waking up each morning and, as William would say, being grateful for another day. We're not all living the ideal life necessarily, but we are all living a life that if you just redirect your thinking, you'll be okay. So if I'm speaking to anybody out there that needs their thinking redirected, they need their legs pointed in a different direction, the logic, I mean, pointed in a different direction. It's the same world that you're making progress or lack of progress in. It's the same earth, but your disposition in the earth is the important matter. It's not going to change and become anything else other than what you know it to be, but your mind will make it work for you. Bi'idhnillah, we say, with the will of Allah, by the permission of Allah. Your mind, that's why He created it. We have to stop thinking that Allah created all of this potential for no reason. People who have a whole lot of potential in the automobile sitting in their garage right now, but it's been sitting in there for the past 40 years. And all they have to do is take it to a mechanic who knows at least how to turn it over and get the motor started again. That's what this is. That's what Nunetics is. It's just getting your motor started again. I don't promise you I'll get you to California or to Hawaii or to any of these. That's a plane, a train, and a boat doing that. I'm just trying to get you down the highway. So if you don't do anything else, you can at least see all of the beautiful scenery. Nunetics will bring you all of the beautiful surroundings that you've been missing because you haven't been paying attention. So, Muhammad, did you have something you want to say?
Praise be to Allah. Just thank you, thank William, thank Bashir, and thank Muhammad Abdullah for me being able to communicate and expand my understanding. Praise be to Allah. I thank all of you. Praise be to Allah.
We thank you for participating. And I see Al-Zahar. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. You have your hand raised also, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. First
Alaikum
of all,
salam.
I wanted to thank you for welcoming me again here. And I was very happy to be here. And I just had one question. I don't want to let everyone stay here too long. Just like when you spoke about the prophets and that they are archetypes, do you mean that they're like something inside of us, like type of frequencies, or like, because I thought like I know that our Prophet Muhammad, he has existed, yes, but in the Quran, it's not like that Allah is speaking about a literal person, but about like a frequency, maybe like inside of us or something.
You
Yeah, I
hit
heard you once
you, you
say
you
something
hit the
like that.
nail on the head for yourself. You answered your own question.
So it is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is yes. Now I'm not taking anything away from what a person may have believed about Muhammad. I'm not taking anything away from him by not attaching every time I pronounce his name, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm not taking anything away from him by doing or not doing it. I could say it if I wanted to. But if all of them are equal, then why don't I do it for all of them?
Exactly.
And if all of them are equal, and as a human being, I'm the same as every other human being, then where is that level of esteem when it comes to recognizing my human worth and potential? I'll tell you where it is. It's in the fact that you're recognizing me as a Muslim. Muslim already has that honor, and it belongs to every man and woman,
Exactly.
not just to the Middle East,
Yes.
not just to a particular country. So we have to make corrections on these misnomers that we've been carrying for decades, hundreds of years now, the Muslim world. And I don't want to insult anybody, so I don't want to start using the term non-Muslim for Muslim populations, but they've been acting more non-Muslim than Muslim, many of them, in the way that they treat other people. But now there are some Muslims who are exemplary in their behavior when it comes to treating other people well. I know I have personal friends like that. Muslims who they're literally and consciously vying to achieve that excellence that they believe is the standard for Muslim behavior and thinking. So I'm just saying, if you're comparing the two, live up to the second one, because these are frequencies. The more you live up to it, the more you're going to draw other people towards you who are seeking to live up to it also. They just might not come with your label. They might come and they don't have your, you're going to draw them because it's a frequency, but it doesn't mean they're going to come with your particular label.
Mhm.
It's like people who are into music, they draw other people who are into music, but it might not be your genre. It might be country and western. I mean, you love jazz, but music, there are similarities that when you begin to have conversations with each other, you're going to be drawing that which is at least similar to what it is you love. That's how we draw our mates on the most part, unless we're really not paying attention. And many of us are not. So we draw the wrong mates. Doesn't mean she ain't no good. She just ain't no good for you. she, she's good for somebody else, but she ain't no good for you. Wrong frequency. We're going to be doing a whole series of sessions on frequency modulation or frequency manipulation, because this is how the world works. You remember that book, why bad things happen to good people? That's what we're talking about. That's why. It doesn't make you a bad person to be operating on bad frequencies. You just don't know your frequencies. And you don't know how to manipulate those frequencies or change them so that they bring you better results. So it's the same thing with the whole list and line of the prophets. Yes, they represent varying frequencies of operation taking place in the human system. And the guidance in them is telling you how to manipulate these levels of energies that are within you. In India, they'll call them the chakras. In Western medicine, they'll call them the endocrine glands. They have different words in different systems for the same thing that we're talking about. It's just the potential. That's all a seed is. A nabi. Nabata. Nabi is something that nabata, it grows like a plant. And in the seed is where the potential for what that thing is going to be and how much it can be, it's carved into the seed. If it's not in the seed, it ain't going to be in you. When you artificially graft it and connect it with another life form that is not itself, now you're asking for trouble. And that's what this world does. They take you and they make you something that you're not supposed to be. And that includes about 90-something% of the world of rappers, pretending to be that which they are not. But it's true for musicians and artisans and people like that, generally speaking. These actors in these movies, generally speaking, they're actors. That's not them. That's not what was in their original seed. And many of them are in trouble now because their minds got messed up, believing in the artificial, believing that they deserved this adulation and worship as though they are some kind. And then they hand them a little statue, golden god, as an award. Just a little pagan trophy. They award you with a pagan little naked man, gold man, standing on whatever he's standing. And this is your award at the Oscars. So we are here to effectively change the world. But in order to change the world, we have to change the word. The word is the frequency. There was a time when you had to change the channel on your television manually. In today's time, there's no manual changing of. If you lose your remote, you are done. you won't even be able to turn the television off. You have to unplug it. If you lose the remote, isn't that something? I can't turn my television off. If my child put the remote somewhere and I don't know where, I didn't know he put it under the chair and under the cushion, and I took it out of the room. So that's what we're talking about. Having control of your human life. All you have to do is consciously strive to be a better human being, beginning in your family. If you jump outside of your family, you're cheating. Now, if it ain't working and you're trying to do it in your family, but I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you practically that it will work if you understand what being a better human is. It's not forcing people to do a physical ritual. It's not looking down on people who don't fast the way you fast and when you fast. There are many people on this planet Earth who fast. They just don't fast like you fast. You can't meet them halfway because you think Ramadan is a particular month and a particular set of days. And because you're misconstrued about Ramadan and what it means, you'll never see eye to eye. But if you understood that you can do it anytime you want, I know that's confusing for some people because they say, well, the Quran said, what the Quran, what does the Quran say? I'm not going to get into that lesson today. I'm just telling you to be more observant about what they say the Quran says and go investigate it for yourself. And now that you have the extra added tools of consonantal connections for words, you should be able to go in there and say Ramadan, Ra, Mim, Dod, and suffix on. Like the word Quran has an ending. It's a suffix. It's not a part of the original root word. You got to know your root words. You got to know your you got to know your fixes, the affixes they called. Beginning of a word, in the middle of a word, at the end of a word. You got to know which letters sync up with the word itself. Imagination. Where's the prefix? Where's the infix? Where's the suffix? The letter T, what is that? What part of the word is that? The ION, that's a word out of science. What is that? Why is that in there? When you begin to come, now you see why I'm saying that this is like starting a college course. Because your college class is not going to teach you what you're going to learn when you come here. These things have meanings. Creation. Why do all these words have shun in them? Ion. And the letter T standing separate. Because imagination, that T-I-O-N, that T, it means something. The simple sentence is that it means that the word is feminine. That's all it means. Just like the feminine T in Arabic. We call it ta marbuta, they call it in Arabic. It just feminizes the word. So if information is a feminine word, now you know that things go into it. It's that simple. It can be influenced by outside frequencies or actions. So we'll be going into that in the near future. The word future has a T in it. See? Because they can be influenced by things outside of it and change the whole future, change the future by one statement or one action or whatever. You can manipulate it. So start looking for that as you read the Quran, or at least the translations into your language. Say, man, this word has a T in it. Abbreviation. All these shun words. And why does it sound like S-H-U-N when it's T-I-O-N? These are the questions that the instructor had early. He was 14, 15 years old when he started thinking like that. And the result of it is all of you people who are not bothered by the fact that I know something you don't. That's the other downfall. When people run into people who know things that they don't know, they think the person is being braggadocious. You know, they think that you want them to look at you like you some big shot, and I don't. That's the last thing I want. And there are people here who have been with me longer than some of my siblings, like Habiba. She would have been with me longer than some of my cousins, and I know for sure my grandchildren. I've known her longer than I've known my grandchildren. And there's no arrogance in me of that sort or of that level at all. Anybody who knows, you could see me for the first time and come to that conclusion. Just today, you can say, well, I know one thing, he's not arrogant. That's an easy conclusion. That's the key to your evolution. Don't be what Iblis became. Istakbaru. Puffed up with pride. I got it. I can handle this. I know it. He doesn't. You become kabir. That's inside of you. Seeing yours. That's seeing you. Istakbaru means that this is your perception. We use that word a couple of times today. When you put an AS on the beginning, Istakbaru. That means this is how you perceive it. It doesn't mean it's for real. Allah said Iblis became Istakbaru. That means he's perceiving himself like this, but it ain't necessarily so. You ain't greater than anybody. Look for these keys and clues as you read Al Quran. And that's it. Thank you for listening to today's discourse. You can email me if you have a question. You can call me. You can do whatever you need to do to get in touch with me, as long as you have a real question or concern. I love doing this, and I love to see people grow. So if you want to give a little discourse, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like you saw Wally do today, like Muhammad is going to do, I think, next week, then, 15 minutes is not too much that it's going to throw anything that we do as a class off. But continue to be here and bring your notebooks and your pens with you and take notes. I will be sending this out as a replay later today, so you'll be able to review it if nothing goes wrong with the recording. I don't think there will be anything wrong with it. But, look back at it, listen to it, stop it, take a note, play it again, stop it, wait till the next day, take some more notes. You don't have to listen to this whole thing all over again just because we recorded it in one sitting. Okay? Do what people who record music do. They record a whole session and they record the whole song, but now they got tracks. Everything is broken down into different tracks. And they have to listen to each track to decide how loud they want the drums to be, right? Or how soft they want the violins to be. So they call it mastering the tracks. And that's how you become a master in Nunetics. You got to be able to listen to everything and everybody and realize where to place them so that there's harmony and peace, the subject of today. And then when people come together and they bring their ideas, it is so sweet a sound. It's astounding. This is a miracle, what you're seeing right now. We got people some people call Black people here. Some people have people from Asia in here. Some people have people from India. We got different people in here who are not supposed to be getting along. That's a no-no. And you've been here how many hours? What time is it? You've been here 3 hours, 4 hours already? I haven't seen you yawn yet. And there's a bunch of people, about another 20 people in the background watching this right now live with us. And they stay, I'm looking now, it says 20. Yeah, there were about 23, 24 people here. So this is the new math. Yeah, this is the new math. And it's not corrupt like the world's new math. It's designed to give you back your human brain so that it becomes your tool for the greatest and best level of manipulation created by Allah, not by us. The brain is a tool for manipulation. Yeah. So let us go to work with the tools that Allah gave us to do the job that we were placed here to do. Like I said earlier, if you don't mow your lawn, Allah just lets the woods take it over. I love watching these shows where people are becoming famous now for mowing lawns, keeping people's homes, older people who can't get out there and push a mower and all. And these people have nice homes in some cases, but they just don't have the strength to get out there themselves. So these people come and they do it for free. See? That's their gift. And Allah gives them so much more when they do that. They are independently wealthy, many of them now. They're just pushing lawnmowers in different parts of the country. Illinois, different parts of the country, Detroit, Atlanta, they go around to different places. In the snow time, they just push a snow plow. And they're becoming known around the country for assisting people. And me and my wife are sitting at home loving it. It's almost an addiction. It soothes your soul to watch people help people, even if it's not something you can personally do to help that person. You say, go ahead, man. I'm going to send you his, reserves. That's great what that guy is doing. Owners of homes, some of them have cancer, some of them have this, that. Some of them have lazy children that live 2 blocks from them and won't come over and help mow the lawn. And Allah shows you the depths of human sensitivity that these people have for helping people they had never met before. They'll stop in front of your house, knock on your door and say, you look like you could use this, that. Well, son, I don't think I can afford it. How much is it? Free. Then they see something extra to do. Can't you mind if I move this from here to there? Oh, I was hoping. You mind if I fix this fence that's falling down because of the weight of these branches leaning on the fence? No, if you can do, and then people go out and buy a whole new fence. It's beautiful what these people are doing. This is the evolution I'm talking about. While they're talking about gang violence, and as though all of that is taking over the entire planet, it's not. Goodness is on the rise, not gang violence. If gang violence were on the rise at the level that they are speaking on, we would have no world right now. We'd have no country. Don't let the politicians and people who are lying to you on both sides or all sides, don't let them fool you. Okay, for the 3rd time. I'm out of here. We'll see you all next week, inshallah. Have a very comfortable day. I should have said in the next 7. I'm trying to get used to that. We'll see you all in the next strong 7. We used to call it a week, but we're tired of being weak. So let's do what we have to do. Reserve this day if you can for class. And again, if you have a presentation, simply let me know. I'll let William know, or Nawa, or one of the other administrators know, and we'll put you in the queue. And
You were supposed to have been done.
okay, thank you, Miss Arlene.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
I didn't know you heard that.
I did, but it's okay.
You don't take time out for you. You just trying to keep feeding us.
No, when I feed you, I'm feeding myself.
Well, I'm
Remember how
sure.
Mama used to do that. She used to take some, she feed the child, and she take a little piece of cheese or cracker, so she'll eat. I will have nothing to give you if I don't get fed.
Yeah, but
I'm fed.
you feed us well. You feed us well.
Well, that's because your instructor is fed. He makes sure he gets fed every day.
Yeah. Where's Sister Medina?
You said,
That's
where
a
is she?
joke. That's a
Oh,
joke. You're being
no,
fed
no.
every day.
Yeah. She didn't have her grandchildren here. She'd be feeding you.
Your Lord takes care of you.
Yeah, we in here babysitting. So she
Okay.
wasn't able to make her presentation today. But I said, let them miss you a little bit. We never promised them you every Sunday. She was only supposed to be on for a day. About 7 weeks ago, 7 strong 7s ago. So she'll be all right.
Inshallah.
Yeah, all right. And you, I hear you're a little under something, so be well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank
everybody who's going through a little something, little symptom of something, or illness, or cough, cold, or whatever it is, we pray that you be well and be optimal next time that we meet with you.
Inshallah.
All right. All right. So thank you. And in the greetings of peace that obligate each and every one of us to keep the peace, we give you all the universal greetings of Salamun Alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you all.